إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا بين يدي الساعة. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا وحبيبنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. اللهم اجعلنا منهم ومن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. اللهم آمين اللهم آمين اللهم آمين. أما بعد، فيقول تعالى في كتابه الكريم بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. وقال تعالى في كتابه الكريم: يوم ترى المؤمنين والمؤمنات يسعى نورهم بين أيديهم وبأيمانهم بشراكم اليوم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها ذلك هو الفوز العظيم. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, the reminder that I have for myself first, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, and to everyone here today, comes from a passage in Surah Al-Hadid, the very last surah of the 24th juz. No, much after that. It's the 26th juz. 26th or 27th? 27th juz. Surah Al-Hadid, the last surah of this juz. In this surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shares with us an interesting incident that happens in the Day of Judgment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shares with us a scene, a scenario that will happen on the Day of Judgment. And in this scenario, He teaches us about a people that assumed that they were doing something alright with their life. But when the reality hits in the Day of Judgment, they end up being from those who are punished. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explains to us how it is that they come to this point. What mistakes that these people made to get to this point. And it's important for us when we read these verses from the Quran that we listen and we reflect. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching us, here are the things not to do. Here's how you protect yourself. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts off now in ayah number 12. He says, يَوْمَ تَرَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ. On that day, you will witness and you will see al-mu'minina wal-mu'minat, the believing men and the believing women. يَسْعَى نُورُهُمْ بَيْنَ أَيْدِيهِمْ. That their light, the nur, will be emanating from your bodies. بَيْنَ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَبِأَيْمَانِهِمْ, from in between their hands, yani from their chest, from their bodies, light will be coming out. We know the reality of the Day of Judgment will be such that after resurrection, we all will walk to the place of Hashr, the place that we will all gather, where we will be judged. But there is a walk to get to that place. There is a walk, right? And this walk, the Prophet Mohamed sallallahu alayhi wa sallam describes it to us as it being extremely dark. And we learn this from the Quran as well, that it's just darkness. And depending on the amount of good that you did in your life will determine the amount of light that emits from your body, lighting the path in front of you. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, on that day, when there is nothing but darkness, you will see the believing men and the believing women. That light will be coming out of their bodies. بَيْنَ أَيْدِيهِمْ, from in between their hands. يعني, if from their chest, from their bodies. وَبِأَيْمَانِهِمْ, and from their right hands. There will be some people that did enough just to have a little flashlight from their hand. And then an announcement will be made. بُشْرَاكُمُ الْيَوْمِ. To you, O believing men and women, glad tidings to you. بُشْرَاكُمُ الْيَوْمِ. Good, glad tidings to you. Congratulations. Be happy, rejoice. جَنَّاتٍ تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارُ خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا. For you, for the sacrifices that you made, for the struggles that you did, for you, you have Jannat, you have the gardens, you have your Jannah. تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارُ, under which rivers will flow. خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا, in it you stay forever. For eternity. Forever is a long time, guys. Forever is a very, very, very long time. It's actually an unlimited amount of time. Many of us feel fatigued and beat down from life. You feel tired from life. And most of us are not even 80 years old. We have some exceptions, alhamdulillah. And you already feel fatigued. You already feel tired. You haven't even lived 100 years. Just the Day of Judgment. كَأَلْفِ سَنَةٍ مِمَّا تَعُدُّونَ. Just the Day of Judgment is as if it was 1,000 years that you are used to. That forget your Jannah and your Jahannam. Just the Day of Judgment. And so imagine an eternity. It's literally forever. You cannot fathom it as a human being. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that announcement will be made to these people. Glad tidings for you. Congratulations. You have earned for just a few moments of sacrifice. You know, we don't have to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala day in and day out of every single day of your existence. No. You pray what? 5 times a day? You got 20 minutes a day? You know? You have every now and again, you may be tested with some difficulty. Maybe some time where you're tempted to lie. Maybe some time where you're tempted to cheat. Maybe some time this, that, and the other. We know our temptations. Just a few moments in life. Few moments. And you were patient in those few moments. And with that, you earn the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, earning you your Jannah for an eternity. خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا. ذَلِكَ هُوَ الْفَوْزُ الْعَظِيمُ. Indeed, that is the ultimate success. The greatest investment that you could make. That investment is millions of percentile over. You know, for any of you that are familiar with the stock market, you know a good investment, an unheard of good investment is 15% return. That's like unheard of. 15% return is preposterous. If you have a business, then to have 100% return is like you're sky high. You're living on cloud 9. Imagine. For our Jannah, it's not 100% return. It's millions and millions, trillions of percentile return. It's infinity. It's an unlimited amount of time. And all you did was invest a few moments. When you were young, to be a little bit patient. To guard what is in between your jaw, to guard what is in between your thighs. From a hadith of the Prophet Muhammad. So he says, you invested. So congratulations to you. بُشْرَاكُمُ الْيَوْمِ. That's the ultimate success. So this is something we know. It's motivation to keep grinding. But in the next verses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches us the lesson. He tells you now, here are some things that will help you get to that point. He says, on that day, there will be another group of people. يَوْمَ يَقُولُ الْمُنَافِقُونَ وَالْمُنَافِقَاتُ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا انظُرُونَا نَقْتَبِسْ مِنْ نُورِكُمْ. On that day, you'll have another group of people. They will be right behind the believers. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us like a vision, a scene. You have the believers up front, and they have light coming out of their bodies, lighting the way for them, leading them to their reward. And then right behind the believers you have the hypocrites. Al-munafiqun wal-munafiqat. The hypocrites from the men and the hypocrites from the women. They will say on that day, لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, to the believers in front of them, they're going to yell out, انظرونا, wait for us, because they have no light. They can just see the light in front of them. They can just see the light in front of them. Imagine you're in a dark, you're just in the middle of the woods. You're in one of the cities right next to Tulsa. And the only thing you see is like light in an extreme distance. But you see it moving away. You see it moving away. And we will learn in the next coming verses is that punishment is coming from behind. So they see light ahead and punishment is creeping up on them. And so these hypocrites will say, انظرونا نقتبس من نوركم. Wait for us so that we can do iqtibas of your nur. Now what's beautiful about this word, this specific word that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses to use, is this word iqtibas in the Arabic language doesn't mean to take and to leave someone empty. That's akhal, right? To take and to leave someone with nothing. Iqtibas in the Arabic language is specifically used when you have two matches. One of them has fire, the other does not. And you touch them. Now they both have fire. But the first one didn't lose anything. Right? If you've ever used matches before, that's how it works. Like if you light a candle. You have a candle, the match has fire. You touch the fire to the candle, and what happens? The wick is lit. But the match should still have fire. This is iqtibas. So the idea is to receive the light without you even losing anything. I don't want you to give me what you have. I'm not even asking for that. You're not going to lose anything. Let me just stand close enough to you to where I can kind of get some of that energy too. So this is what the hypocrites will say. Wait for us so that we can do iqtibas of your nur. And then the believers will say, قِيلَ رُجِعُوا وَرَاءَكُمْ فَالْتَمِسُوا نُورًا. Go back to where you came from, you'll find your light there. This is a play on words because it has two meanings in one statement. The first meaning is that go back to where you came from, meaning you won't find your light here, in front. Turn around. Go back where you came from because there's no light for you here. The second understanding is go back to where you came from. Yani, what does it mean? Go back to your dunya. Go back to the life that you had. That is where you earn your light. Go back to where you came from. Go back to your world, that life that you had. That's where you earn your light. You cannot earn light here. That's not the place for this. You missed step one. You're over here in step two saying hey guys, where'd y'all get the light? And it's no, you already passed that. That was first stop. You already passed that stop. And so the believers, they say, you have to go back. There's nothing here for you. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَضُرِبَ بَيْنَهُمْ بِسُورٍ لَهُ بَابٍ. Then all of a sudden a giant wall just falls down. And then this wall has a door. Now you can see that the believers, in the first answer that they gave about the light, it was a quick answer. Because they're also moving. They have the light so they can see where they're going. But what did I say before? The punishment is coming from behind. They can see the punishment. Now they can see where they're going as well, so they're moving straight, moving away from it. And so then now all of a sudden a giant wall falls down. فَضُرِبَ بَيْنَهُمْ بِسُورٍ لَهُ بَابٍ. And this wall has a door. بَاطِنُهُ فِيهِ الرَّحْمَةِ وَظَاهِرُهُ مِنْ قِبَلِهِ الْعَذَابِ. In the inside, of this door, behind this wall where the believers are, is rahmah, is mercy. وَظَاهِرُهُ مِنْ قِبَلِهِ الْعَذَابِ. And on the other side of the wall, the punishment is slowly approaching. Now you're stuck. And now here the hypocrites, they ask another question. They call out again. يُنَادُونَهُمْ أَلَمْ نَكُمْ مَعَكُمْ. They call out again. This time they say, didn't we used to be with you? Didn't we used to hang out at the same places? We went to the same school. We played the same games. We went to the same masjid. We used to hang out together. I used to be right next to you your whole life. Now you go act strange? يُنَادُونَهُمْ أَلَمْ نَكُمْ مَعَكُمْ. Didn't we used to be with you? And now you'll see the believers, now they give the lengthy answer. They give the answer as to why one is being punished and the other is being rewarded. It's in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us all. But now that the believers, there's this door, there's this giant wall that's blocking the punishment, now they have the time and they have the comfort to answer. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shares with us this answer before we even die. This is a conversation that will happen in the future. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shares with us this conversation to teach us. Now don't do these things, or else you're going to be on the wrong side of that conversation. And so the hypocrites, they say what? أَلَمْ نَكُمْ مَعَكُمْ. Didn't we used to be with you? We used to be tight. And then the believers, they say, قَالُوا بَلَى. They said, yeah, absolutely. We were right next to each other all the time. وَلَكِنْ. But, here's where you made your mistake. Here is why the punishment is approaching for you, and we are behind the doors of mercy. Number one, فَتَنْتُمْ أَنفُسَكُمْ وَتَرَبَّصْتُمْ وَارْتَبْتُمْ وَغَرَّتْكُمُ الْأَمَانِي. He says these four things happened. He says the first thing, the first mistake that you made consistently in your life is وَلَكِنْ فَتَنْتُمْ أَنفُسَكُمْ. You put yourself in testful situations. You knew there were certain places you shouldn't go. You knew there were certain people you shouldn't hang around. You knew there were certain things you listened to and it was not good for you to listen to. You knew. And in the beginning, you told yourself, it's all right. I'm not going to be affected by it. I'm good. I got this. So you continued to put yourself in testful situations. You knew your own weaknesses. You knew the temptations that your heart had. But you continued to test yourself. You knew, I'm not so good with holding my temptations with the opposite gender. Yet you continued to hang out with the opposite gender. Maybe that's your test. You knew that when it comes to money, you start to become a little shaky. It's hard for your iman. Your heart gets a little bit weak when it comes to money. But you continued to put yourself in situations where you tested your iman. You put yourself in situations where you had the opportunity to cheat. You knew your weaknesses. You knew you had a problem with keeping your gaze down. That you shouldn't look at the opposite gender. Yet you spent hours and hours and hours on social media telling yourself, I just have one look, it's okay. You knew. You knew that you have a problem with lying, a major sin in our deen. But you put yourself in situations where you felt like you always had to prove yourself. And you had to lie to get out of situations. You put yourself in that situation. If you told the truth the first time, you wouldn't have to keep lying. But because you tested yourself, you knew your weaknesses, and you tested yourself over and over and over again. This is the first thing. This is the first mistake that you made. He says, now the second mistake, what's the next step after that? Is after you tested yourself, after you made your mistake, we all make mistakes, but after you made your mistake, instead of asking for forgiveness, you listened to something you knew you shouldn't have listened to. You watched something you knew you weren't supposed to watch. You hung out or you did something with someone that you knew you shouldn't have done. No matter how bad, no matter what, you made a mistake, whatever it is. And instead of asking for forgiveness, even if you think you're going to do the mistake again, who cares? Instead of asking for forgiveness, what did you do? وَتَرَبَّصْتُمْ. You procrastinated. You kept it on. You said, next Ramadan, I'll change, I promise. You said, next Friday, not going to do it again. You said, when I come back from Hajj, my life is going to change. When I do Umrah, my life is going to be different. When I finish school, that's really, I'm going to hit the straight arrow, not the broken arrow. When I do this, when I do that, then I'm going to fix my life. You kept procrastinating. Tomorrow I'll ask for forgiveness. Tomorrow I'll ask for forgiveness. Oh man, I miss Fajr, it's alright. I'll make it for Dhuhr. I miss Dhuhr, I'll make it for Asr. Instead of just fixing, move forward. وَتَرَبَّصْتُمْ. You kept procrastinating. Tomorrow, you end up never doing it. And what happens when you procrastinated is guilt fell into your heart. You said, man, why do I feel bad? You know, when you procrastinate, even though it feels good in the beginning, at the end, when you miss your chance, what does it feel? It feels bad. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explains to us now the psychology of the human being in this verse. He says, now, and because of your procrastination, that then led you to feeling guilty, which in turn led to وَارْتَبْتُمْ. And then you started feeling doubt. You started feeling doubtful. You started telling yourself, man, the only reason I feel bad is because, you know, this deen, this religion is backwards. It's old, it's 1400 years old. Man, why is this haram anyways? Who said? How come you can eat beef, but you can't eat pork? That's a clear example. We're all on the same page on that one. No one disagrees on that. And if you ask any Muslim, you know, do you eat pork? Even someone who doesn't even practice at all, what will they tell you? Nah, no, at all. You know, subhanAllah, when I was in college, I knew some people that would even go to the extent of drinking alcohol, but they wouldn't eat pork. Alhamdulillah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to keep that iman there and eat. That's a sign, it's an ounce of iman that's still there. It's still there, you just need to grow it. But how come you can eat this meat and you can't eat that meat? They're both animals. Allah has made one of them haram and the other not. How come you can do business, but you can't do interest? Allah has made one of them haram and one of them not. And so because you kept procrastinating and that guilt kind of seeped in, you needed to put the blame somewhere. Because you were not grown enough to just accept responsibility. You're too much of a child in the head. Instead of saying, I made a mistake, I'm wrong, Ya Allah, please forgive me, I'm sorry. Instead of that, what did you do? You started blaming now the religion. وَارْتَبْتُمْ, you started having doubts. Is this religion even good for you? I mean, all the things that are fun are haram anyways. So you started having doubts. And then what happened is now the doubts started killing you in the inside, eating you up. And life goes on. And if you know the way life goes, eventually you find your way back. You need something to hold on to. As human beings, we aspire towards something divine. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, then the next mistake that you made is وَغَرَّتْكُمُ الْأَمَانِي. And then you were fooled by your own wishful thinking. Your own wishful thinking fooled you. You kept telling yourself, oh, Allah is the most forgiving. I don't need to ask for forgiveness. He'll forgive me anyways. I don't need to do this. I don't need to do that. Allah forgives. Allah is merciful. Which is true. Allah is more merciful. Allah says, "Inna rahmati sabaqat ghadabi," that my mercy supersedes my wrath, my anger. It is true that Allah is merciful, but you have to earn that mercy. You have to ask for that mercy. You have to deserve that mercy. But what did you do? You fooled yourself with hope. You just kept telling yourself, I don't have to do anything. Your own desires fooled you. And then Allah says, وَغَرَّكُمْ بِاللَّهِ الْغَرُورِ. Ultimately, you were fooled by the ultimate deceiver, Shaitan. You were fooled by Shaitan from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You were fooled. Instead of just fixing your life, instead of you turning around, making the adjustments in your life that you knew you needed to make, you stayed comfy. You procrastinated. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shares with us this incident that will happen on the Day of Judgment, teaching us of the mistakes that we should not make. My dear respected brothers and sisters, be the good that you hope to see in the world. Be the good that you hope to see on your scale of good deeds in the next life. And don't wait until tomorrow. No matter what mistake you may have made this morning, you have breath right now. You're in the masjid right now. We're about to pray salah right now. Ask Allah for forgiveness. It doesn't matter how old or how young you are. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how big or how small of a mistake you may have made. None of these things matter. Allah is the most forgiving. And so ask for that forgiveness now, today. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He forgive us all of our shortcomings. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He makes us the people that have His mercy on the Day of Judgment. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He allows us to reach our Jannah without any accounting. Ameen Rabbil Alameen. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He unites us all in the highest levels of Jannah. May He bring the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ameen Rabbil Alameen. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا وحبيبنا محمد كما صليت وسلمت وباركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون اذكروا الله يذكركم. Remember Allah and He will remember you. وادعوه يستجب لكم. Call out to Allah and He will answer you. وَلَذِكْرُ اللَّهِ أَكْبَرُ. And the remembrance of Allah is the greatest thing that each and every single one of us can do. وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ مَا تَصْنَعُونَ. And Allah is fully aware what each and every single one of us is doing.